In the vast tapestry of Middle-earth, power does not always come in the form of warriors, kings, or wizards. Sometimes it is held within objects, glittering treasures and cursed relics that shape destinies, spark wars, and unravel even the mightiest of rulers. Two such artifacts stand out among the rest: the Arkenstone, the radiant heart of Erebor, and the One Ring, the malevolent creation of Sauron. One is a symbol of kingship, wealth, and legacy. The other, an instrument of absolute dominion. But how do these legendary objects compare? Can the allure of a jewel rival the will of a Dark Lord? Today, we delve deep into the mysteries of the Arkenstone and the One Ring, unraveling their powers, their influence, and their impact on Middle-earth's fate. Deep beneath the lonely mountain, among piles of gold and glittering treasures, there lay a single gem that outshone them all: the Arkenstone. Unlike the One Ring, this was no artifact of dark sorcery, nor was it imbued with any special powers of enchantment. It did not grant its wielder strength, wisdom, or dominion over others. And yet, it was the most coveted treasure of Thorin Oakenshield, the one thing in all of Erebor he desired above all else. Tolkien describes the Arkenstone as a globe with 1,000 facets. It shone like silver in the firelight, like water in the sun, like snow under the stars, like rain upon the moon. It was a masterpiece of dwarven craft, a singular jewel unlike any other, yet ultimately just that, a jewel. It was not a Silmaril, as some might believe, nor was it revered by all dwarves as an artifact of divine importance. It was one treasure among thousands. Yet in the eyes of Thorin, it was his birthright, the very heart of his kingdom. When Thorin and his company neared Erebor, his longing for the Arkenstone became more and more intense. Before this moment, he had spoken often of reclaiming his homeland, of restoring his people to glory. But once the mountain was within reach, his words turned toward gold, gems, and hoarded wealth, and above all, he fixated on the Arkenstone. Thorin's obsession did not stem from magic, but from his own pride. To him, the Arkenstone was more than a jewel. It was a symbol of his rule. Possessing it would mean that he was truly the king under the mountain, and without it, his throne would feel incomplete. Yet the Arkenstone held no inherent power, only the power Thorin gave it. And that power would soon lead him to ruin. It was Bilbo Baggins who stumbled upon the Arkenstone first. As he gazed upon the jewel's brilliance, something inside him stirred, not greed, but understanding. He knew at once that this gem was the key to controlling Thorin. Suddenly, Bilbo's arm went towards it, drawn by its enchantment. His small hand would not close about it, for it was a large and heavy gem, but he lifted it, shut his eyes, and put it in his deepest pocket. Though Bilbo was no dwarf and had no claim to treasure, he understood what was happening to Thorin. The dragon's horde had awakened something dark within him, and the Arkenstone was at the center of it all. As Thorin sat atop his golden throne, his paranoia grew. He counted and recounted the gold, searching for the Arkenstone with growing frustration. When Bard, the slayer of Smaug, came to the mountain to negotiate, asking for a fair share of the treasure to rebuild Dale, Thorin refused. Not even gratitude for Smaug's defeat could shake his iron grip on his wealth. "Not one piece of gold shall leave this mountain while I sit upon my throne," he declared. But in truth, Thorin's throne was not of stone. It was of gold, and the more he sat upon it, the deeper he sank into his obsession. Realizing that Thorin would never see reason, Bilbo did something extraordinary. Under cover of night, he crept from Erebor and secretly handed the Arkenstone to Bard, giving him the one object that could force Thorin to negotiate. It was not a weapon, not a spell, but it was the one thing Thorin would trade for. But Thorin did not see this as a chance for peace. He saw it as a betrayal. "You have all betrayed me," he roared. You with your soft words and your mercy. You, thief in the night. Rather than surrender a single coin, Thorin sent for reinforcements. He chose war over reason. And had it not been for the sudden attack of goblins and wargs, the true enemies, Thorin might have waged battle against Bard and Thranduil for nothing more than pride. In the end, Thorin's greed was his undoing. Mortally wounded in battle, he finally saw the folly of his ways. As he lay dying, he spoke to Bilbo, not as a king, but as a friend. Farewell, good thief. I go now to the halls of waiting, to sit beside my fathers until the world is renewed. If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world. With Thorin gone, the Arkenstone lost its power. Dain, Thorin's successor, had no interest in it. It was buried with Thorin, a symbol of the king who had died chasing it. Unlike the One Ring, the Arkenstone did not seek to control, did not linger in the minds of others, did not whisper its way into history. It was not the cause of Thorin's downfall, his own greed was. It was simply a mirror reflecting what lay in the hearts of those who desired it. And for that reason, it remains one of the most tragic artifacts of Middle-earth. While the Arkenstone was a symbol of kingship, the One Ring was something far more sinister, a weapon, a trap, and a will unto itself. Where the Arkenstone's influence came from perception and desire, the One Ring was alive with purpose. It was no mere ornament, no simple treasure. It was the embodiment of its master's will, a fragment of Sauron's very soul, designed for one purpose alone, to rule. In the Second Age, Sauron, the deceiver of men, elves and dwarves alike, presented himself as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. Under this guise, he manipulated the elven smiths of Eregion into forging the Rings of Power, bestowing upon the lords of Middle-earth gifts of great magic and influence. But it was all a lie. Sauron's true plan was far darker. Deep within the fires of Mount Doom, he crafted the One Ring, his masterstroke, his true weapon. Into it, he poured his malice, his cunning, his boundless hunger for dominion. And as he placed it upon his finger, the world trembled at the revelation of his treachery. Tolkien describes its purpose in the infamous inscription, "One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them." Unlike the Arkenstone, which was valuable only to those who desired it, the One Ring created its own desire. It was not passive. It was an active force seeking to enslave, to control, to corrupt. Where the Arkenstone was a treasure, the ring was a curse. To wear the One Ring was to gamble with one's soul. It was not merely an object of temptation, it was a parasite, preying on the weaknesses of its bearer, twisting their thoughts, bending their will toward darkness. Bilbo, the simplest and kindest of creatures, began to change the longer he possessed it. Though he never sought power, he became jealous and protective, unwilling to part with his precious even after decades of holding it. "It is mine, I tell you, my own, my precious, yes, my precious." Frodo, too, though noble and pure of heart, struggled beneath its weight. As he neared Mordor, the burden became unbearable. Not just physically, but mentally. His very identity eroded under the ring's influence, until in the fires of Mount Doom, he could no longer resist. "I have come, but I do not choose now to do what I came to do. The ring is mine." The One Ring did not merely tempt, it consumed, and those of greater power suffered even more. Boromir, a valiant warrior and noble son of Gondor, fell within mere days of proximity to the ring. Gandalf and Galadriel, beings of immense wisdom, refused even to touch it, knowing that its corruption would be instant and absolute. As Galadriel herself proclaims, "In place of a dark lord, you would have a queen, not dark, but beautiful and terrible as the dawn, treacherous as the sea, stronger than the foundations of the earth. All shall love me and despair." The ring did not simply lure, It amplified. It took the best qualities of a person, their leadership, their strength, their wisdom, and twisted them into monstrous forms. And worst of all, the wearer always believed they were in control, but in the end, the ring controlled them. Unlike the Arkenstone, which could be buried and forgotten, the One Ring refused to be lost. It had a will of its own, an unrelenting drive to return to its master. It betrayed Isildur, slipping from his finger at the worst moment. It found its way to Gollum, whose mind it shattered over centuries. And when the time was right, it left Gollum to be found by Bilbo, ensuring that its influence would spread once more. As Gandalf said, "Always remember that the ring is trying to get back to its master. It wants to be found." Unlike the Arkenstone, whose power was limited to the mind of its owner, the ring's reach was infinite. Even when not worn, its presence could be felt, a slow, creeping poison, eroding the resolve of all who came near it. The dwarves, who were immune to its direct corruption, still fell to greed under its influence. The 9 kings of men, thinking themselves wise, accepted Sauron's gifts only to become wraiths, bound to his eternal will. The Arkenstone could inflame greed, but the One Ring could enslave an entire world. And the only escape? Destruction. There was no bargaining with the One Ring, no negotiations, no peaceful solution. As long as it existed, it would work toward its ultimate goal, the return of Sauron. It could not be wielded, for even the noblest of souls would fall beneath its weight. It could not be hidden, for it would always call out, seeking its master. It had only one true fate, the fire from which it was born. There is only one way, to find the cracks of doom in the depths of Orodruin, and cast the ring in there, if you really wish to destroy it to put an end to its power. And so, unlike the Arkenstone, which was buried in honor, the One Ring was cast into fire and ruin. It was erased from existence, for nothing less would suffice. The Arkenstone was the heart of a mountain, but the One Ring was the heart of darkness itself. One was a treasure, the other a curse. One inspired greed, the other ensnared the soul. One was buried, the other had to be destroyed. Where Thorin's downfall was his own pride, those who fell to the One Ring never had a choice at all. The Arkenstone's story ended with its master. The ring's story ended with the world itself hanging in the balance. And so, in the end, we ask, which is the greater power? The gem that turned a king against his people, or the ring that turned empires to ash? That is for you to decide. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this type of content, don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.